doing it the way he's doing it, bouncing from different federations to different sports. You know, did the thing on Triller a couple of times. Here he's on Misfits, and it's nice to advise and assist. You know, boxers who he knows he's not going to fight Bivol. He's not going to be the light heavyweight WBC, WBA champion. He's not aiming for that. He just wants the biggest possible fights to raise his profile and earn a bit of dough along the way. And he's done that, you know, with 9 fights. You know, I think I'm really proud of what he's done. He always kept himself in good nick. You know, even when our fight was announced, it was 5 weeks. We had 5 weeks. We both turned up in great shape. We both look after each other. We've been friends. So we train every day. You know, it's just one of the things that we do as part of a healthy lifestyle is looking after yourself, because you never know what's around the corner. And here we are. This fight only got announced, you know, a week or so ago, and he's already in shape. You know, he's only 20 pound over the 180 pound limit. So he's a healthy human being who is always ready to take the opportunity. And here it is. And he's, you know, he gets a slice of the pay-per-view on this one. I assume the numbers are going to be great because people are going to. This is KSI taking his first fight, so the numbers on the zone will be great. So it's an interesting time in boxing. Where going down the amateur turn professional and going for a legitimate world title isn't the only option for people. You know, so you know, Joe's done things very, very unorthodox, and here he is. He's still got his faculties about him. He's earned millions, and he's healthy and he's happy and he's getting in the ring against someone who hasn't had a professional fight yet. So there's other ways to go around this boxing game.
What's your reaction to Anthony Joshua's win over Jermaine Franklin?
I thought he won it conclusively. I think he ticked all the boxes in terms of, you know, coming back from a back-to-back defeats. I think a fight against Dillian Whyte is the obvious next step for him. I'd feel a lot more comfortable. You know, I like Anthony, always have done. Want him to be the best version of himself, and I want to see the killer. I want to see the killer come back. I want to see that. You know, the Anthony Joshua that fought Dillian Whyte in the O2 Arena, God knows how many years ago. I want that AJ back. I want the one who can let his hands go, who really doesn't mind getting hit, but he's going to make sure he hits you twice as hard. That's the version we all need to see back, and I think Dillian will bring the very best out of him. He'll either beat him or he'll bring the best out of him. One of the two, and that's what we need. We need fights that force. You know, Franklin didn't have the firepower, didn't have the size, didn't have the ability to really put him under pressure. He caught him with a couple shots here and there, but you need more than 1 or 2 shots against AJ. You've really got to put it on him, and Dillian can. Dillian has done in the past. You know, both fighters are in a great opportunity now. You know, both coming off wins against the same person who can take it to that next level. And you know, I'm really excited for that fight. And the obvious fight after that is then fighting for the title.
Last question, we were back to May 13th.
Is it too early for AJ to fight Tyson Fury?
Too early? What do you mean too early? Isn't Tyson Fury fighting someone else?
Well, I don't know who he's fighting. Maybe you could jump in and step in with him.
No. Yeah, I thought he was fighting. Isn't he scheduled to fight? Who's AJ fighting? Sorry, Fury fighting. No. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. I don't know.
He was asked in the ring about fighting Fury, and you know, Wilder, people saying it's too early. Froch said he'd get destroyed by both. Do you agree if he jumped in with either of them, that's too far at the moment?
I'd prefer, off the strength of that last victory, which was very comfortable, to see him in an uncomfortable fight first. Because the one thing you're going to guarantee is in against Wilder, Tyson Fury or Usyk, it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable fight he's going to have to be victorious. When was the last time he was uncomfortable against Usyk and he lost? He wasn't uncomfortable against Franklin. It was it was a comfortable victory. Dillian, I believe, will make him uncomfortable. And it's how he deals in the uncomfort zone will determine how he'll do against one of the biggest guys, Wilder and Fury, and those are the guys he's going to understand. I'm going to be uncomfortable getting hit by these guys, but I'm going to have to deal with it. And I'd like to see, before he starts fighting the top players, go in there with who is a top player himself, Dillian Whyte, on a nice little run of victories, lots of spice, both from the UK, both fought each other before. Controversial first fight, you know. Dillian, I know, had one arm in that first fight. He's had an operation on his right arm since, and his right hand's seen him well. So I'm looking forward to that showdown whenever that takes place.
That's the time, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Haymaker, Haye. Omicron here 4 seconds out with David Haymaker. Haye, David, May 13th, KSI, Joe Fournier. Who's going to land the Haymaker?
I think Joe. I think Joe's going to land the significant one. So I definitely know KSI is very fast. He's young. He's fresh. He's got a great team around him. Everyone at London Shoot Fighters, I know, really do believe in him. They've put him in his uncomfort zone. I've listened to a lot of what Marius had to say about him, his head coach, and KSI has actually been to my gym to train. You know, when I was training to fight Joe Fournier, KSI was actually in my gym training because Marius trained me for that fight. So I've seen KSI behind the scenes. I know what he's about. I've seen him spar. I've seen him hit the mitts, seen the bag. That was a year and a half ago. I'm sure he's improved significantly since then. That version of KSI, in my opinion, wouldn't last the distance against Joe Fournier. Even though Joe Fournier is 40, even though that he's been living in Tulum and Dubai and all over the world in nightclubs, he lives quite a very clean life. So there's no real miles on the clock for Joe. But I think I've seen him spar world champions, professional world champions, and hold his own. And I think that wealth of experience over the last 10 years will be enough when that first bell rings. Once the energy of the first couple of rounds where KSI will be really hyped up, big crowd, going crazy, all eyeballs on him, knowing that Jake Paul was in a very similar situation with Tommy Fury in a fight which he lost. No, very few people in that on Jake Paul's team believed that was a version of reality that could take place, but it did. I thought after that happened that maybe KSI's team would think, oh, in actual fact, maybe we might have bitten off more than we could chew, but it didn't. They doubled down on it. They really wanted it. They wanted to prove that they could fight the real professional. A professional who's unbeaten in 9 professional boxing matches. They want to take his scalp. You have to respect it. You have to respect anybody who isn't a natural-born professional fighter, who's only come to it very, very late, who's already a multi-millionaire, doesn't have to box. You could just sit on a beach and chill for the rest of his life. But he's decided to put himself in the most uncomfortable situation, a boxing match, not against 2 non-boxers, that's one thing, but against a professional fighter who's coming to win, who's a lot bigger than you are, got a 100% knockout ratio. It's a bold move. And I'm like, respect to you, but they got it wrong. They miscalculated this fight, and they must think Joe's older than he is or slower than he is. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining, and I'm just hoping Joe takes it seriously. He said he's going to carry on partying. I hope he isn't. I hope he's going to. He's going to need to take it seriously. But so when that first bell rings, he's got 6 good rounds in him to go out there and do what needs to be done to get the victory.
You're the fighter with the experience, the accolades, the world titles. For your eye, is KSI someone who, look, he has the confidence and he believes he can beat Joe, then he can transition over into professional boxing and beat professional boxers. Is he that guy? Is he the guy that will beat Joe and beat Tommy Fury?
He's completely unknown. We will know a lot more on May 13th, that's for sure. We'll know exactly where KSI is. In my opinion right now, he's in that world, the Misfits, YouTuber, other celebrity influencer realm. Yeah, he's the best of that bunch. But now we're going into the professional game. It's a different sport. The fighters that you're getting in the ring with aren't just doing it for the first time. He's been doing it for 10 years at a very high level. He was ranked in the world in the top 10 by the WBA. That's a legitimate top 10 professional boxer. A few years ago, but at some stage in his life, that's where he was. So you can't dismiss that. You cannot dismiss that experience. You can't dismiss that he's fought in the O2 Arena a few times. He's fought in front of, I remember Donald Trey. He fought me. He had an exhibition fight with myself. I went 8 rounds, didn't get knocked out there. So he's been around, he's seen it, he's done it. He's a bit of a dirty fight. He comes in with his head, elbows. he's gonna give KSI stuff that he's never seen before. There's one thing KSI. I heard Alexis earlier talking about the training, sparring. I get that. That makes a lot of sense. But Joe's been in there against world champions where he's the sparring partner. Joe was the sparring partner. When KSI has his sparring sessions, KSI is the champion. He brings the sparring partners in to spar with KSI. They're there to fit him. Where Joe's been on the other end of it, where he's been the sparring partner, getting bashed up by James DeGale, legitimate world champions. And he's hung in there. He's taken his licks. He's learned. He's battle hardened. And I think Joe takes a lot of that confidence going in there against someone who isn't a professional boxer. But Joe does need to understand that the physicality of KSI is not to be ignored. He is very fast, very powerful, athletic, dedicated. You know, so it just makes it very, very interesting.
That's all from me, David. Quickly, you look in tremendous shape. Any offers come your way?
I've always got offers coming my way, but I'm happy doing. I'm happy on the safe side of the ropes. It's a tough game, boxing, and I'm happy bouncing around the world, having fun, enjoying life, and watching other people and assisting other people. It's been nice to assist Joe coming through his career. I remember when we sat down before he turned pro. Now he wanted to achieve as much as he could. We've come a very strange route around it. But if you work it out, he's earned more money in boxing than I earned up until I was a heavyweight. So all the money I earned from my first 20 fights, with being an undisputed cruiserweight champion, he's earned more than that. You know, just doing it the way he's doing it, bouncing from different federations,